Hey guys, welcome to the Primal Body Show. Today I've got a bunch of questions that I'm going to go through. Some questions about carnivore, about different meat choices, carb refeeds. What about the Carnivore Shredding Program for women? Is dairy okay? What about vitamin C? Carnivore on a budget. And then questions like, what kind of music do I listen to? What's my daily routine like? All that good stuff. So we're going to get into all of it today. So let's get started. Question number one, this is from Yanni Konjadik. Not sure how to pronounce that. Hi Will, I have a question for your next Q&A. What do you think about carnivore long term? I'm very interested in carnivore, but I'm a bit afraid of doing it long term since our body slowly becomes less able to digest carbs and vegetables if we don't consume it. So that's a very, very interesting point. One of the things that is being discussed currently a lot is the idea of metabolic flexibility, meaning making sure that your body is efficient with digesting both fuel sources, so fat and carbohydrates. Now, when you're in a ketogenic diet or you're in ketosis or any diet where you are burning fat, you can even be on a high carb diet and be in ketosis if you're eating little enough calories that you have to dip into ketosis. Pretty much low carb, keto, carnivore, all those diets, you're going to be learning how to burn fat and you'll become more efficient with burning fat. So that makes you efficient with burning fat, but what if you want to make sure that you retain your ability to burn carbohydrates at a high level? Shouldn't you be eating carbohydrates? In my opinion, it's just really not something that I'm concerned about at all. So if you think about it, I intend to consume, a low carb diet for basically the rest of my life. So I don't necessarily need the ability to digest carbs at a high level. But number two, your body is able to adapt to whichever substrate you're giving it. So if you give it more carbs, if you give it more vegetables, well, then your gut flora is going to change. There will be changes at the mitochondrial level in terms of how you're digesting these fuels. So your body will adapt to what fuels you give it. For 4 years, I was vegan, and I was probably more adapted to eating carbs. And then after the 4 years of being vegan, then I went onto a ketogenic diet. Now I feel fantastic doing a ketogenic diet. So my body didn't lose the ability to digest carbs or to digest vegetables, and vice versa. It didn't lose the ability to digest animal protein and fat. Long story short, your body will adapt to the foods and fuels you give it. So if you're concerned that you'll lose that ability, I don't think that's anything to be concerned about. But what you can do is every now and then you can incorporate maybe some white rice or some sweet potatoes or some vegetables, maybe one or two meals a week if you really want to maintain that ability. But for me personally, it doesn't really make that much sense to do that because I don't believe that your body loses the ability like that and never gets it back. I think you can get it back. The other thing I would mention just in terms of doing this diet long term, make sure that you incorporate variety. So if you're just doing red meat, it seems to work for quite a few people, but I wouldn't want to take that risk. I would include red meat and wild-caught seafood, salmon, sardines, oysters, salmon roe, all that good stuff. I would incorporate, doing the collagen supplementation to balance out the methionine to glycine ratio. If you're only eating muscle meat, you're getting a lot of methionine, but you're not really eating nose to tail and getting in that collagen, getting in the glycine. So collagen supplementation, I would recommend people make sure you're getting in some pasture-raised eggs. At least do the egg yolks. At the very least, do pasture-raised egg yolks. And if you're good with egg white protein, then also include the whole egg. So I really recommend just the full spectrum. If you want to do carnivore long term, and this is what you're going to sustain your life on, your body on, this is your only body, this is your life, then give yourself the best fuel. And I wouldn't want to take the chance of just doing red meat to prove a point to people like, look, you can survive on red meat. Sure, I think you could probably survive on potatoes for quite a while, but I care about my health and my life too much to risk any potential negative implications of a mono diet. So that's what I would recommend. And then on top of that, I would say, if you're doing carnivore long term, make sure you're exercising. Exercise affects so many different areas of your health and gene expression, your mood, your hormones, all of that, your sleep quality. So make sure you're exercising. Make sure you have sleep. You're sleeping well every night, getting great sleep quality, doing your 7 to 8 hours. And then I would also recommend sun exposure is a huge one. So make sure that you are at least regularly getting some sun exposure, large parts of your body. If you can't, look into some vitamin D3 supplementation. So yeah, that's basically my take on carnivore long term. Question, do you care that the steaks at Costco are grain-fed? This is from Freddie Kip on YouTube. So I do occasionally eat Costco steaks. It's usually their New York strip steaks because those things go for like $6 or $7 a pound. It's a really good deal. And I like New York steaks because they have the tendon in them, which is going to get you some collagen. So I occasionally eat those, and he's asking, do you care about the grain-fed portion of that? I do. I don't think grain-fed is optimal for human health, which is my number one priority. Secondly, it may have some negative environmental impact. And then third, it also, I don't think it's great for animal welfare either. So for me, my solution isn't to totally swear it off. I do treat these Costco steaks as sort of a treat, but for me, I think I minimize them. So it's basically like a treat kind of thing for me. But yeah, I think just overall, it's probably more optimal to have grass-fed meats because you're going to get a better nutrient profile. You're going to get a better omega-3 profile. It's probably better for the environment. I don't know that much about the environmental impacts, so I don't want to speak out of turn here, but it's probably better for the environment. And then it's also probably better for the animals. But again, I don't know all that much in terms of the environment or animal welfare. I can say that it's very likely better for human health. So I prefer to eat grass-fed. And that's why I do a lot of the Sprouts ground beef, because extremely cheap, $2.99, $3.99 a pound, and you're getting grass-fed ground beef from Sprouts. So I love it. Next question is, refeeds once a week. Instead of doing a carb refeed, do you ever do high protein refeeds when you need extra protein for repair? I don't do high protein refeeds, and the reason is because I'm never ever restricting my protein for the day. I'm always allowing myself to eat protein to satiety. The only thing that I moderate is my fat, and obviously I keep my carbs like ground zero. So there's no reason for me to do a protein refeed because I don't do moderate protein. I do high protein, basically unlimited protein, depending on how I'm feeling. And I'm telling you guys, a lot of people think, protein is going to have negative effects in terms of mTOR, IGF-1, these different growth factors. I would really say that the link between protein and aging has not really been substantially proven yet. So that's not something that I personally buy into. A lot of these longevity experts love to restrict protein, and then you'll see in different rat models and in these different studies where, rats will live longer, or actually I think mice will live longer with these protein restricted diets. Personally, I don't want to sacrifice my short-term health for a potential long-term benefit of maybe being able to survive a few more years. It's not proven in human studies. And for me, I think that short-term health actually has a very strong impact on long-term health. So if the idea is to just hold on for dear life to live as long as possible by, eating this very low-protein diet, and it's kind of like burning the candle less brightly so that it lasts longer. I don't really subscribe to that model. And I think that I prioritize short-term health because I believe that it will lead to long-term health. So I think body composition is important, exercise is important, sleep is important. The quality of your diet is very important. But I'm not a protein restriction guy. Boy, that's going on a tangent right there. So let me circle back to the question. No, I don't do high protein refeeds, but I think that if you want to have an occasional carb refeed, I would say I would recommend doing I call it a cheat meal. People love to say it's a refeed or it's not a cheat meal, it's a carb refeed, and don't call it cheat because that's negative for your mentality. It's a cheat meal. So I would say if you want to have a cheat meal, you can maybe have one a week depending on your goals. You can possibly have 2 a week. For me, I think I could get away with 2 a week because I've reached my goals in terms of leanness. I'm really happy with how lean I am. So for me, usually I'll have about 1 cheat meal a week. And I've gotten some feedback on this recently where a guy's like, you have this carnivore shredding program and you promote being shredded and all the carnivore diet, but you're having a cheat meal. Like, what's up with that? And here's the thing. If I have 14 meals a week, I'm intermittent fasting every day, I'm training every day, and out of those 14 meals a week, I'm eating 2 meals a day. Out of those 14 meals, 1 of them is a cheat meal. How far is that really going to set me back? For me, it improves my quality of life, which is huge. You want to do things that improve your quality of life. And for 2, I don't notice any negative effects in terms of my body composition or my overall health. I wake up the next day, I go straight to the gym, I feel fantastic. I sometimes have a better workout because now my muscle glycogen is full with all the carbs and I've got some extra sodium in me. So I would say that if you have beaten food addiction, if you have beaten binge eating, if you don't have issues with food addiction, binge eating, or if you don't have any food allergies that you know of, for example, many people are gluten intolerant, many people have issues with plant phytochemicals, plant anti-nutrients, that's why they do carnivore, then don't have a cheat meal, as simple as that. But if you don't have any allergies to plants or any issues with plants that you know of, if you've beaten food addiction and binge eating, so having a cheat meal isn't going to lead into this weekend-long binge, then think about it. What impact is that 1 cheat meal having on you? If you've set a goal for yourself that you're not going to cheat on your diet for the next couple of weeks or whatever, then don't do the cheat meal, because then the impact it's going to have is it'll weaken your mental state. But if you don't have any goals like that and you allow yourself a cheat meal a week, then in my opinion, it's a net benefit. It improves my quality of life. I get to enjoy a nice date night dinner. And really I'm back on it the next day. So it does nothing to my physique. I'm able to maintain a very lean, muscular body with that cheat meal. So that's my take on high protein refeeds and carb refeeds. Next question. What specific fruits and veggies do I add to my diet and how? Also, any alcohol? So, great question. Do I add any fruits or vegetables to my diet? The only thing I would add to my diet that would, I guess you could describe it as a fruit or vegetable, it would be berries. Every now and then, probably I would say about once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, I'll get a little tub of berries. It'll be, blackberries, blueberries, maybe some strawberries even. And I'll have some of those. A lot of water content in there. There's some fiber in there. And it's a lower sugar fruit. Berries are also very high in antioxidants, which we're not even sure anymore that really makes a big difference based off of some of the things that Paul Saladino's been putting out. There's a lot of great info there. But that's pretty much the only fruit I'll include. I also, once in a blue moon, I'll have a pickle, but that's pretty rare as well. And I would say if you want to add fruits and veggies to your diet, berries would probably be one of the most harmless. The second, I would say fermented vegetables. So sauerkraut or kimchi or something along those lines. That's basically all I would recommend. I don't recommend leafy greens, kale, spinach, none of that stuff. And I don't recommend higher sugar fruits. Alcohol. So alcohol, in my opinion, would be the same as a cheat meal. Don't do it on any sort of regular basis. But if you have one alcoholic beverage a week, let's say you go out and you get a drink on a Friday night with someone who's important to you, maybe you'll have a shot or you might have a glass of wine. I would say that would be pretty solid. Now, what I don't recommend is beer. I personally think beer, as a wheat product, I think there's a lot of issues with beer and it can have a lot of negative hormonal impacts on men in particular. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Okay, question. Can the Carnivore Shredding Program work for females? Are there modifications for the exercise part? 100% it works for females, and in fact, most of the people doing the Carnivore Shredding Program are actually women. Over 50% of our clients are women, so yes, it totally works for women. You adjust the macros to fit your specific needs, and then with the exercise portion of things, I've worked with a number of women to create customized specific plans for them at no extra cost. So if they have if they want to work out at a home gym, if they want to do body weight exercise, if they're afraid of getting bulky and they really want to do body weight calisthenics, I'll work with them to create a program that works specifically for them. So if you're interested in doing the Carnivore Shredding Program, definitely check that out. But yes, so it completely works for women, and we've had a lot of great success with it there. Next question, is dairy okay? If you digest it well, I would say yes. There are some people that have issues with whey and with casein proteins. So I would say if you have issues with whey and casein, then stay away from dairy. And then obviously some people have issues with lactose where they're heavily lactose intolerant. So if you're lactose intolerant, your best bets are fermented dairy, which would be hard cheeses, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. But here's what I really recommend. Go a period of time with no dairy, so I would say 2 or 3 weeks, and then after 2 or 3 weeks, have some cottage cheese or have some Greek yogurt and see how it sits in your stomach. I actually did this just today, so I've gone the past, I think, 3 weeks, no dairy. Today I had some cottage cheese. Did not like the way it felt in my stomach at all. It was pretty heavy in my stomach. I felt a little bit bloated. Digestion just didn't feel great. So I cut it out again. I'm not going to mess with it. And I've noticed in the past that actually dairy can kind of affect the way my face looks. So I feel like it gets less blood flow to it, and I can get very dark circles around my eyes, and I can also get a lot of puffiness in my face. So I don't really mess with dairy too much. But that's my take on dairy. If you digest it well, go for it. And there's a lot of people that digest it well. Also, one last thing I want to add with that is some of the nutrients in dairy, for example, your calcium, there are other ways to get calcium. So I personally use Ancestral Supplements bone marrow capsules. Ancestral Supplements is an amazing, amazing brand, and they have bone marrow capsules that will take care of basically a whole bone complex. So this is pretty much ground up bone in bovines, and it's going to give you so many nutrients. So I take those. I'll take about 6 to 8 of those a day. I used to do whole bone calcium until Paul Saladino started talking about it and it sold out. So I don't do whole bone calcium anymore, but I think that that's also a great option. Third option is eggshells. So you boil 5 or 6 eggs, you take the shells, you grind them up using a pestle and mortar, or you can do a food processor, and then you've got a nice fine powder. You take that powder and have a teaspoon of it a day, and that'll get you your calcium. So lots of different ways to get those nutrients. I personally think the Ancestral Supplements is the easiest option. What about vitamin C? So on a carnivore diet, you're eating no fruits, no vegetables. Aren't you going to get scurvy? Aren't you going to get vitamin C deficient? Within the carnivore community, this topic has been beaten to death. So let me just put my 2 cents in. You want to eat fresh meats. So beef jerky, sure, you might get scurvy if all you're eating is beef jerky. But if you're eating steaks, and if you're eating ground beef and things like that, if you're eating egg yolks, you're going to be getting in small amounts of vitamin C. Now, don't you need more than that? Well, not necessarily, because on a carnivore diet where you're not consuming carbohydrates, glucose and vitamin C actually compete for the same receptors in the body. So if you're not eating carbs, glucose, then you don't need as much vitamin C because it's more bioavailable and it's more highly absorbed. So you'll be fine. Now in my, I'm over 2 years of doing this. Now into my 3rd year of doing a carnivore diet, there's no scurvy. I don't have any issues with that. So I would say that that's not necessarily a concern. Let me adjust here for the light. Next question is carnivore on a budget. Now, here are my best recommendations for carnivore on a budget. Ground beef. You don't have to do grass-fed ground beef, but $2.99, $3.99 at Sprouts. It's cheap as hell. So ground beef. Second one would be eggs. So you can do conventional eggs if that's the best you can afford right now, but I would highly, highly recommend getting pasture-raised eggs. Just a deeper color yolk, probably more carotenoids, definitely more omega-3s. So there's a lot of great nutrients in there. And egg yolks are one of the 2 most nutrient-dense foods on a carnivore diet. You have beef liver, and then you have egg yolks. So I don't like to skimp on egg yolks. I like to go for the good stuff. So you have those 2. And then the 3rd addition I would add would actually be if you can get some wild-caught sardines. That's going to take care of some of your other nutrients in the diet. So wild-caught sardines are fantastic. Wild Planet has some really good ones. And that's really just to supplement and round out your diet. So that's basically it, guys. Ground beef, eggs, and then you can throw some sardines in there. And then when you're able to, throw in some different animal foods. If you can do some oysters, if you can do, chicken, turkey, things like that. Now, next question is, what kind of music do I listen to? Okay, cool. Whew. Okay, we're getting off the carnivore topic. What kind of music do I listen to? So, currently, the main thing I listen to is Spanish trap music and reggaeton. So that would be Anuel, Bad Bunny, Farruko. Really, really big fan of Spanish music. And it's so funny because I hardly speak Spanish. I speak it just barely. So when I listen to these artists, I love the vibe, I love the energy, but I don't understand most of what they're saying, so it's perfect. Because I like to listen to a song and not know what they're saying, because I can imply my own meaning onto it, so I like doing that. I also love classical music. I like the pianist Ludovico Einaudi. He's an Italian pianist, has put out some amazing music, so I'm a huge fan of him. I also like Vivaldi, different artists like that. I'm also a really big fan of old school big bands and swing music. I like the Rat Pack. I like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., all those guys. So it's a pretty wide variety. I listen to rap as well. I listen to country. I listen to a lot of different things. I like heavy metal. So quite a good variety of music. What does my daily routine look like? So get up at 4:30. I am heading to the gym at 4:45. By about 4:50, 4:55, I'm at the gym. I will either do Monday, Wednesday, Friday weight training. So Monday, chest and arms. Wednesday would be shoulders and back. And then Friday would be legs. And then Tuesday, 45 minutes of zone 2 cardio. Thursday, 45 zone 2 cardio. And then Saturday, 45 zone 2 cardio. Sunday, I'll usually take a day off, just kind of enjoy the day. I will still get up at 4:30 a.m. It's still super, super, super critical to me. I can't emphasize this enough, but it's so critical that I continue to get up at the same time on Sundays, but I just don't go to the gym on that day. I don't believe in sleeping in because to me, it just derails my progress. As soon as I sleep in, my work productivity goes from maybe, let's say I'm at 90, 95% work most days, it goes all the way down to 40, 45%. I just don't get as much done if I'm getting up at 7 or 8 a.m. So I'm not super keen on that. And then, so I get back from the gym at about 6 a.m., take a shower, get ready for the day, leave at 6:30. I'm at Starbucks at about 6:45 or some other coffee shop. I'll grab a coffee, enjoy it, answer messages on Instagram, catch up on email, and then at 7 o'clock I start work for the day. I'll write a blog post, I'll edit a vlog and put that up. I'll upload some content to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. Also, guys, I'm pretty new on Twitter, Snapchat, so if you guys want to check me out there, twitter.com/William Shewfelt. There's no symbols, no underscores, nothing. Twitter.com/William Shewfelt. And then my Snapchat is will.she. So will.she, and that's my Snapchat. So I'm just putting out as much value as I can on all of those platforms, and I would highly recommend check out my blog. I've got around 5 blog posts up there right now. I'm talking about nutrition, training, mindset, daily routines, optimal health, supplements, all of those things. So that's williamshewfelt.com/blog. So yeah, daily routine. 7 o'clock, 7 a.m., I'm working. I work probably until like noon. I'll get a snack, so I might eat some slices of salmon. I might eat some hard-boiled eggs, something light. And then, yeah, I have my snack, and then I get right back to work. I pretty much work until maybe 6 p.m. I'll have dinner, and then I'll finish up whatever work I have for the day. And then at around 7, 8 p.m., then I'll start working on planning the next day, doing some journaling, shower, spend some time with Chelsea, and then after that, I'll get ready for bed. And that's a full day for me. So I'm usually sleeping, to be honest, I'm usually sleeping at like 10, but I aim to sleep at 8:30 or 9. There's been a lot of work lately, and I've been having so much fun with it. Like, I can't get myself to go to bed because I'm so excited to get the work done. So, current training goals. My current training goal, I'm trying to navigate the sun here. I'm going to work out this lighting situation soon, guys. So, yeah, we're still getting the podcast up and running, but I would rather give you this value with suboptimal lighting and these crazy rays of light than not put the podcast out. So next podcast, I'm going to work out this light and we'll be good. But getting back to it, what are my current training goals? My current training goal is to get as strong as I can and as lean as I can at the same time, which those seem to be contradictory, but let me explain. This past year, I have focused, actually the past 2 years, I've focused on getting as lean as I possibly can. That's all I cared about, going for that Bruce Lee kind of physique. So lots of cardio, lots of body weight training, calisthenics, sprinting, all that different kind of stuff. Lots of lighter weights, higher reps. I did that for a long time. Didn't touch heavy weights pretty much at all. I've managed to maintain a pretty muscular physique, but I've just gotten to the point where I really want to pack some muscle on my frame. I just want to get jacked again. Crazy enough, but I was actually my most muscular when I was about 16 or 17. I was doing a program called Strong Lifts 5x5. I was squatting like crazy all the time. I was eating as much as I possibly could. So I was doing some really, really good numbers with my lifting back then. So yeah, I got damn strong when I was like 17 years old. So my goal is to surpass every PR I've ever hit. So that means on overhead press, I need to be hitting over like, I think 165. For squats, I need to squat 315. I need to deadlift in the 450s. I need to bench press 275. Hopefully work my way up to a 300-pound bench press. All that different stuff. So I want to get strong as hell this upcoming year. I'm going to have to stick to a very specific routine. Strength training, you have to be very, very smart, strategic, methodical, slow-paced with it. So I'm excited for that, but you're going to definitely see a different Will this upcoming year. Last question. Here we go. Any more Power Rangers episodes? With me in it? As of now, no. So I did my 2 seasons on Power Rangers Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel. Those are on Netflix. You can check out all 40 episodes. So I've done my part with the Power Rangers franchise, but will I be back in the future? I have a very, very strong feeling I will, but we'll see and time will tell. But I think I'll be back in the future. All right, guys, so this was the Primal Body Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please leave a rating and subscribe to this podcast. I really, really appreciate the ratings. I'm just beginning this podcast. I'm just growing it now. And what I love about this is I want to have a platform to share all of the ideas and content that I'm encountering daily with you guys. So everything I'm learning, everything that's exciting me, everything that I'm working on, I want to be able to share all that stuff with you guys and have sort of a back and forth conversation. So yeah, guys, this is episode number 2. Episode number 3, I'm going to have a very, very special guest on. I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy this. So thank you guys for the support. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found some value in it. Make sure to check me out at Instagram. That's at William Shewfelt. Also on Twitter, twitter.com/William Shewfelt. Let me clarify. Twitter.com/William Shewfelt. I'm on YouTube as well, so you can just Google my name. You'll see me on YouTube. And then finally, if you want to get started with the best fat loss plan that incorporates a carnivore diet, the best style of training, and the best style of cardio and intermittent fasting to get you the fastest and healthiest fat loss results, check out the CarnivoreShreddingProgram.com. Click on the 8-week fat loss plan and punch in Primal Body. So type in Primal Body as your code, and you are going to get a 10% discount because you are a Primal Body listener. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace.